Welcome to this episode of the Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm Larry Weidel, and before we get started, if you want to know exactly how to win again and again, go to weidelonwinning.com/webinar now to watch something I've put together for you. Now let's get going into this episode of Million Dollar Mastermind. I'm really happy right now because I'm with my good buddy from Verona, Matteo Perin. Hello, Matteo.
Hello, Larry.
Yep, it's uh, time for us to get a podcast recorded. And, last time we got up to where you had expanded pretty rapidly up to 3 stores up there uh, outside of Verona on the lake. And so,
hmm
we want to talk about some of the things the issues that come up in expansion and adjustments you make going forward. But off camera, you and I were where I was telling you some of the things I've been going through recently. You've been you told me something that some good advice you got from your grandfather, because as you go through life, you're not going to make everybody happy. The sooner you learn that not everybody's going to love you,
Right.
the better. Doesn't matter what you do. You can send them roses, $100 bills. Somehow they're just not going to like you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But a lot of us get attacked, and you talked about it in that last episode. When you do
Right.
well, you get attacked by your competitors. When I was in North Carolina, I started in Atlanta, and I was a real nobody. Nobody knew me. I never did anything big consistently in Atlanta. But when I went up to North Carolina, we had our original surge and sales in the insurance business and the investment business like that. We set off a lot of shockwaves in town.
Right.
Pretty soon, rumors came back. I almost fell down laughing when I heard this. They said, well, this is a guy who did the same kind of criminal activity in Atlanta and Georgia, and they took his license and ran him out of the state, and he came up to North Carolina to start it all over again. And I said, that's hysterical, because nobody even knew who I was, but it was just guys that were making stuff up because, again, they couldn't compete. So
Sure.
they couldn't admit defeat. So they had to oh, this is a bad guy. But
Right.
you're always going to get attacked by somebody in life. First of all, they'll attack your idea, or how dare you think that you could start a business or that you could do this. I mean, you always have that. But then when you have success, you can get attacked from anywhere, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes you deserve it. You need to say, oh, my bad. I didn't realize it, but I was stepping on people's toes. I need to
Sure.
grow up. I need to mature. I need to learn how to say things more diplomatically. And we all go through that as part of the knocking the rough edges off and polishing us. Uh, but so you can move through life smoother. It's not that you have to, but it just makes
Yeah. Yeah.
life, you deal with issues in a way where you're not creating more problems. But you were saying your grandfather had some advice he gave you about when you get attacked in business.
Yeah. I remember, so he was, again, 1899. Okay. He had a long way to go, went through 2 world wars here in Italy and Europe, and, business and stuff. But one thing that he would always tell me, even when I was younger, is don't take being attacked as something that will draw you down, because when you get attacked, and you're a well intended person, most of the time is because you're actually expanding. So, let's put it this way, and this is some examples of things that I've learned from him and others, and also, I guess, life myself, from a lot of my clients. A lot of us, we have good intentions. We have the road that we want to pay for ourselves, but we have people around us who are negative. And this is probably the most key thing that I've learned from a lot of the people very successful people I deal with, is the fact to not have negative people around you. I mean, honestly, I could probably count all of my clients that are, whether they're famous or not famous, but they've made it in life, is the people that are negative, keep them out of your life, because it just pulls you down. So anyway, one thing that he was just, a lesson I learned, if I get attacked and there is no reason for me getting attacked, is probably I actually smile at it and go, you know what? I'm expanding. Somewhere, somebody is afraid of me or thinking that I'm an enemy or something. So, they're looking at me, I'm shining. And the negative people don't like to shine. They want everything to be dark, everybody to go dark. They don't
Everybody
want,
to be dull.
yes. So that was just, and again, I've always felt so lucky that I was able to have my great grandfather around for so long. So,
Absolutely. And the thing is that uh, it's logical. You're taking a bigger piece of the market, but it even extends to this, and we've talked about it before with some of my other guests, is that when you do well, people feel like you're selling your soul for success. Like
right.
they just assume that you've got to be doing something wrong to be successful. They will not admit or will not accept. It's strange to us because most people go through their life and do not associate with greatness.
Right.
And the fact that you have the desire for greatness, and it could be greatness in business, greatness in sports, greatness in music, great in whatever you're doing, you want to have an outstanding team, have successes. It's just like uh, I was talking to our staff today, and like I was telling you, the podcast, in the
Yeah.
first year we've moved up in the, of all the thousands and thousands of podcasts on entrepreneur, we moved to the like 212 in the first year out of nowhere. And
That's
my
fantastic.
my number in like 82 in Canada. It'd be interesting to find out how we are in Italy, but
Yeah. You need a translation
yeah,
probably for most Italian.
but I got fired up seeing how competitive my staff was about it. Like, okay, it's like, and so that's what, that competition brings out the best. But when you do great things, when the competition causes you to think about doing this, think about doing that, like you went from not running a business at all to where within a couple of years you ran 3 stores with 22 employees, something like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
me
you
too.
had, you know, what happens is a lot of those lessons you learn by necessity, and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
when you get to that point and like every day a new situation comes up and you have to assess it, right and wrong, like Proverbs says in the Bible, the wise and the fool, like you
Yes.
address a situation like what's the wisest, the smartest, the the decision that's going to give us the best benefit long term, not just get through today, but sets us up for long term success. And you just go through and sort things out that way. And, the situation will teach you. You'll teach yourself. You'll coach yourself, and
Yeah.
by looking at it and saying, what's the wise, like your grandfather was giving you wisdom,
Yeah,
and
exactly. I mean,
yeah,
it's his experiences in life, and then but I have to say, I think part of my success has always been that I've always been very curious. I ask people. I'm very interested to figure out and to listen to what they have to say. But then at the end, it has to make sense for me. So, but learning and listening to other people's experience and wisdom is very key, I feel. As long as they, again, if my great grandfather would have told me don't do fashion, it probably would have hurt, but
right.
just because it would have been my passion. But it doesn't mean that I have to listen to it. You have to
Right.
gauge. You have to evaluate for yourself at the end of the day. You
Right.
know.
And you say, where is this advice coming from? Where, who, how did they, why do they feel that way rather than just
Right.
take it on face value? You know, like a lawyer is always going to have a lawyer's viewpoint. An accountant is
Right.
always going to give you an accountant's opinion. We can't afford to do it. Don't do that. You know, there's like, no, 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 no. And, you know, they're not the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur has got to have the accountants,
Right.
the legal people to stay out of trouble. But at some point, you know, you want the entrepreneur calling the shot. You know, and
Yeah.
a big example of that, you know, and that's like your grandfather. You know, your grandfather was what I refer to as a serial winner
Right.
because he won in spite of world wars. You know,
Yeah.
we haven't had to face world wars. You know,
Yeah.
you know, troops rolling out of the Alps. You know, soldiers coming into town. You know, we haven't had to live through that. Taking over probably his farm, his businesses, this, that, the
Oh
other.
yeah. They actually in my office where I am right now. That's where the Nazis were staying.
Really?
Yeah. This was his restaurant back then, and they were living here. You know, they took over all his property and underneath the house, and they were basically being fed at the restaurant and staying here. So
Wow.
yeah, it's I mean the
So
stories he told me is crazy.
so the fact that he, you know, the principles he had, the advice that he was giving you, you look at his life, uh, you see that he was operating on some pretty good foundational principles, because no
Yeah.
matter what happened, he was able to bounce back and get back and keep moving forward. And so that's what we want to have. You know, we want to have uh, uh, wisdom to base our decisions on. And you got to understand when you're attacked, it can be from your closest family and friends because you get
Yes.
attacked for being successful. I mean,
Yeah.
I've gone into rooms full of people in new businesses and say, tell me how your family and friends react to your success.
Yes.
And they all 100% have stories of close family and friends saying, you got to slow down. You're not spending enough time with your kids. You're getting carried away. You need to back off. This is not healthy. You know,
Right.
this, you know what I'm saying? And I guess you've heard some of those things yourself. Uh,
Yeah.
but that's an attack. That is basically verbal. They don't realize it, but that's like verbal bullying you. They are like subtle bullying you into backing off from what you know you got to do to get the things done you know need to be done. You want to do. You don't have to do it.
Right.
You want to do it. And it's, you know, if you let them start making decisions, they're going to say, take back that suit. You know, take back that bag. Don't buy that car. You could
Right.
no. You don't need that. Drive your car for another 50,000 miles, then get a new car. And like all of a sudden they're making decisions about your kids, about your diet, about no. You got to live your life, and you'll make mistakes, but when you're successful, kind of expect attacks because the attacks only come when you're expanding and
Yes.
taking new territory in your life. And uh, you got a final word to make on that idea?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you think about, when you're winning and when you're making decisions that will put you in a winning situation, or anyway move your business and your vision forward, you're always going to find people who don't agree with you and who will. But the point is that I'm trying to make is also my personal lesson is try to build your foundation, your team, your inner circle with people that are positive. They believe in you truly, not just by words. They actually, like, they admire you, and you can admire them back and give them power. Because
Right.
power, if you get power from your people, you give them power too.
Yeah.
So to me, that's always been like all my artisans that work for me. it's taken me many years to find them, and it's I treat them like royalty, because without them I would not be able to create my creations, actually make them in the physical universe. And it's just just have your circle of very key people that are well intended, and they don't go work against you, because there's enough things in this universe that work against you. You want to run, but
Absolutely.
your knees are not strong enough. The
Yeah.
wind is against you. It's cold outside. All these things.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
know,
And that allows you to take attacks when you know
yeah,
you got good people. You're like, over here, we don't have any problems.
right,
We're doing the right things because a well run business on solid principles will grow. And so
yeah,
we know we're on the right track. We've got a lot of excitement about what we're doing. And when the outside voice comes in to attack you, you can just say, they just don't get it. But, those are the same people that'll come in a year, 2 or 3 and say, Matteo, I always knew you had it in you. I just,
right,
I just knew you were going to, do it big. I could just see it. And, you just had that air about you. The same people who criticize you and
right.
would stop you from doing it will come in and they'll make it seem like they were your biggest boosters all
Yeah.
along. But
But I think that's the key, is turning those critics
right.
to boost you.
Yeah.
It's like it's the fuel.
Yeah.
you know like I go into that little town on the lake and I smile now. I mean, I
Yeah.
used to smile
Right.
before, but now I really smile, because people, like, no one would have expected or believed that a guy that has that has come from where I've come. And again, I don't want to make it sound like I was poor. My family
Right.
was not rich. My dad was
Right.
an electrician. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So we were not rich, but I did have food on the table and I had
Right.
clothes. So
Right.
but I'm just saying, it's now I go into that town, and from having 3 stores, and I see the people still living there and working there. Now I go, like, I walk in and I'm like, I actually travel the world every year. I design for very famous or very exciting people, people that really I feel have made a difference in their field. And I love what I do. And it's almost like, none of these people could ever believe it, but it is, and it's real, and it can be done, you know. So
Absolutely. What was your grandfather's name, by the way?
so my great grandfather was Alessandro Brentegani, and I mean, it was, let's put it this way. I I remember he started teaching me some stuff. I was 7 years old, and he would give me chores,
Yeah.
and so one of the things that he had started asking me to do, he was 91. He always liked to get shaved in the morning. So before I
Right.
go to school, when he thought I was old enough to hold a straight razor, he'd ask me to shave him. And when you're 7 years old, at first you're like, come on, it's
Yeah.
like, but then it actually, I realized how important it was for him.
Yeah.
And um, and again, and this goes back to my passion of dressing. And so here's the thing: I know a lot of people don't may not care how they dress, how they look, but I have something to tell you. And this is something I learned from him. He was in a three-piece suit, bow tie and tie and hat, top hat, and a cane until 98 when he passed. Okay,
Really?
I never seen him dressed down at all. And he would tell me that in his era, you didn't just dress up for yourself, you dressed up for others because you respected the other people, So you would go to meet your friends, you respected them, so you wanted them to look at you at your best. And they didn't have money, and they didn't have 20 suits like some people have now, or 30 or 50. They had maybe 3 suits, but they were good, you know. And anyway, I had never seen him dressed down at all. Even when he would come with us to take down peaches in the summer, with my family, he would come there, take down his jacket, roll up his sleeves, and have his vest, and take off his tie. And I mean, it's just it was a different era. Let's put it that way. But I love the fact that they appreciated how they all looked. And so what I try to tell people now in my world is not like, it's fine. I understand people. I'm wearing right now just a cashmere sweater. So, I don't have a tie or shirt or jacket, but I tell people, try to give yourself a look that it would be appeasing to others, and that shows them that you respect. Like, I don't go into a meeting in flip-flops and a pair of shorts, because I think it's just not nice for the other person. It's just, I feel like I'm not respecting them. So
Right.
I try to fit what I'm doing. I also don't go, surfing in a shirt,
Right.
tie and
Right.
jacket and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But you have to fit the situation. That's kind of what I do with lifestyle. It's, you fit the persons, you fit their who they are. And one ability I feel that I have strong and is the fact that I can connect with people, and that helps me really understand who they are as a person. And then where they have to go, then it's just added information. So if I know you have to go to the opera at the Scala in Milano, of course you're gonna have a dinner,
Right.
coat, or a tuxedo or something,
Right. Hmm.
just because that's just proper.
Right.
And it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. It's just, that's what you do.
And so we appreciate all of this stuff. Great wisdom, way in the back. There's always been serial winners. There's always been people that can take whatever life throws at them and deal with it. And soon as they get a little breathing room, bounce back and regain where they were and keep moving forward. And your grandfather is a great example of that. Serial winning through world wars and things like that.
Yeah,
Hopefully, you and I will not have those problems. But
right,
it,
exactly.
I still will take COVID over the Nazis any day.
Yes, yes, I
So
agree.
anyway, thanks so much. This has been great, Matteo. Look forward to next time.
All right.
If you enjoyed what you've heard and are dead serious about finding out for yourself exactly how this works in the real world, I've taken the most valuable business lessons I've learned over 40 years and put them into something for you to watch. Go to whiteelementwinning.com/webinar now in order to move up as fast as possible. I'm Larry Weidel, and I run the $1 Million Mastermind. Go, go, go.